Haunted Hangover presents Haunted Hall.
Welcome to another installment of Haunted Hall. I'm Louie, and I'm joined by Manny.
That's me.
And today we're going to be covering a movie that I know Manny's really excited to talk about.
Thrilled.
Thrilled. For the spooky season, we had to cover a Halloween-themed film. I wouldn't call this a deep cut, but I will call it kind of like a cult classic. A lot of people like this movie, and Manny's not in that camp. I made him watch this. I will say it right here before. Obviously, the listeners, you guys know what we're going to talk about, but the anticipation here at the top. I made him watch this. I saw his Letterboxd review. I don't know what he's going to say. That's the fun in these episodes. His experience watching this movie. I'm going to say this. This is I don't like using the term guilty pleasure, but it is a guilty pleasure of mine. This is not a great movie, I will admit. I'm not going to say...
You're not going to lie to yourself.
I'm not going to lie to myself. I'm not going to lie to the listeners. I'm not. I'm just not going to. But I do enjoy its stupidity. And the film is Satan's Little Helper.
Halloween.
Mom, Dougie, this is Alex. Alex, our house.
Want some cider?
A time of make-believe.
He is going to be so scary.
Dressing up like the devil is part of the
It
game.
really is a Satan, right?
For one little boy,
Where are you going?
To find Satan.
the devil
What's with all the Satan stuff?
Oh, your dad got him this video game.
is real.
Are you Satan? Can I be your helper?
When he brings the devil home, his family pays the price.
This could be our secret door to hell. Mom, help me, Alex!
Child's game
For this you shall die.
is about to become a terrifying reality.
Oh, it's blind!
This Halloween,
Yes!
the devil you know is dangerous.
You're really into this, aren't you?
The devil you don't know
Don't go out there!
will kill you.
Word. Benson said all the dead people were pretend, but he lied! I'm going after them. Little! Run!
Satan's Little Helper.
Now, I remember when this movie came out. I remember
I
seeing...
vaguely remember.
Yeah, it was... and we'll get into all the logistics as usual. But I remember it coming out straight to video film. So in 2004, when this film was released... 2005, sorry. 2004 is when it premiered. But 2005, when it was released, there was still a stigma with straight-to-video films. You think cheap, garbage, no-budget movies. But throughout the years, and I'd say shortly after 2005, when it had its VHS DVD release, people started to talk about it. And I think I rented this for the first time. Don't remember, but I know I saw it a year or so after that. So probably like 2006, 2007. And I'll admit, after I watched it, I was like, what the fuck was that? But have watched it several times since that very date. So it is a movie I have revisited a handful of times. There you go. That's it.
Couldn't tell
Manny's
you why.
done. He's out of the episode. That's it. I don't know why you watched it
Signing
several
off.
times. Signing off. Yeah, dude, I just always enjoyed Satan's Little Helper. There's something demented about it. There's something... It's very dumb. The characters are stupid. The little boy is probably the dumbest character of all time. He doesn't realize what's going on, but yet my brain just says, you know what? Let's rewatch Satan's Little Helper every couple years. I don't know why I do that to myself, but after I'm done with it, I do find myself, it does give me a chuckle. Now, it is far from perfect. As far as it gets from perfect. But there is some merit to it. There's some stuff. I will defend it and show it some love. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say, Manny. I can't wait. Now, where can you watch this? How did we watch this film? So let's start with the streaming, the most accessible way you can watch it. Currently, it's on all the, YouTube channel, the YouTube,
yeah,
all the VODs, YouTube, the Roku channel, Amazon Prime. So not hard to find at all. So since this movie came out in 2005, obviously there was a DVD release. It's a contemporary film we're covering, so there haven't been a lot of releases of this film. So you had the standard VHS that came out through Screen Media Films is the distribution company that distributed the VHS, the DVD as well. There's 2 Blu-rays that have come out. One is the Synapse Blu-ray, which is what we watched. I am holding up the slip cover because I wanted to show that I never have it prepared. I have it prepared for this episode to show the inside and the outside. Yep. So we've got the original. This was the original VHS cover, DVD cover, with the Satan man holding a pumpkin with the film's title in it. And the tagline, "You'll laugh till you die," it's not on this, but it's on the VHS.
A fucking lie.
"You'll laugh till you die" was the tagline on the VHS film, but it had this cover, basically the pumpkin, the one I just mentioned, the pumpkin Satan man, him holding the pumpkin, smiling, all sinister. And that's the release we watched. Both of us watched that Blu-ray. Now, there is a foreign release, and I believe this is, and Manny, I did send you a link as well. This is an import, Region B release, which is a bit better. And when we get into the special features of this one, but this release has a lot more, which is kind of cool. So this release, there's a new art commissioned for it with all the leads. You got the Satan man on there. You've got Jenna, Alex. You got Amanda Plummer as the mom, the little boy, Dougie.
This was released by Treasured Films. It's a UK. All right,
so this is a UK release then. So this release has a lot of the features that are on this Synapse film release that we watched. But it includes a couple of different things. So like there's an extra audio commentary from The Hysteria Continues. I don't know what that is.
Pretty sure that's a podcast.
That makes sense. There's a Behind the Mask, a 15-minute video essay by a film critic and author, John Tolson, which is not in our version. No. And then something called Home Invasion, a 48-minute online interview with director Jeff Lieberman. So none of those features are in our Synapse release.
That's probably just what Treasured Films put together for their release.
There's also a booklet, a collector's booklet featuring new writing from the same guy, John Tolson and Justin Kurswell. So they got 2 guys to write a forward or whatever inside of the booklet. So yeah, this release, unfortunately, neither one of us have it. Neither one of us watched it. So we're not going to really go in depth on any of these special features because we don't know what's on them. We haven't watched them. The version we watch now, again, Synapse Films. I'm sure most of the listeners are familiar with them. They've released a lot of shit over the years. This version, audio commentary from director Jeff Lieberman, a vintage behind-the-scenes featurette, The Devil and the Details, Making Satan's Little Helper, which is, I'll say this, it's about a 30-minute long interview with Jeff Lieberman, mostly the guy that made The Mask, the actor who played Dougie. It's maybe like 4 floating heads. And it's Jeff Lieberman going into great detail about the making of the film. And I will say, and I know we haven't even gotten to the movie yet, but this man is very passionate about this movie.
He is.
He is very passionate about it. And we're going to get into him in a second, too. But you could tell he's very proud and loves this movie. And listen, man, he's a New York guy, which I like. From Brooklyn. shot
Shot
a
it
lot
in
of,
Long Island.
No, shot it in White Plains, upstate New York. So White
was it
Plains.
upstate? I thought it was
yeah,
Long Island.
No, White Plains, Connecticut, parts of Connecticut, the tri-state area, our area basically. And I gotta show him some love, Jeff Lieberman, just for making this stupid movie, being really proud of it, and being from New York. I just think that's really cool. There's also something called, not something, but a segment called Mr. Satan's Neighborhood, a tour of filming locations with director Jeff Lieberman. So Jeff Lieberman himself hosts a tour of the film locations.
Probably his hometown. It's probably where he lives. So he was, you know.
He's from Brooklyn. Maybe he moved out there. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe you're right. So
He probably lives up there now. So he's like, he's
Yeah.
happy to show off.
So
their
it's legit him holding the Satan mask, bouncing it around, talking to it like it's a character, and going to all the locations of Satan's Little Helper. Literally the house. He tells you he shot 4 scenes in this random park, the cemetery. It's like literally everywhere I guess they could go to, because I don't think they visited any other locations in Connecticut. They might have, but regardless, he visits a bunch of the filming locations, the main filming locations from the film. I think this was directed by Michael Gingold, by the way. I think I saw his name in the directed
Yep, it was.
by him, maybe even shot by him. I just found it interesting that Jeff Lieberman did it himself. He was the host of his location tour of his own movie. I just got a kick out of that. Again, this dude is very, very happy to have made this movie. And he's got an interesting kind of history, and we might as well kind of use that to segue into the movie itself. So, this movie was screened. Now, this blew my mind. When I saw this, I was like, really? This would never happen in 2024 or even no time ever in the future. Well, maybe. But this screened on May 6, 2004 at Tribeca Film Festival. Premiered.
That was the premiere.
That was the premiere. The first screening of the film was at Tribeca Film Festival.
Yep.
Manny, do you see them ever screening a film of this caliber at that festival ever again? This was a different time, 20 years ago.
Well, I was actually listening to Joe Lynch talk about this film.
Okay.
And Suitable Flesh just premiered at Tribeca as well.
Okay.
And he was surprised because he loved this film. He loves this film. He knows it's exactly what you said. He knows it's not a perfect film, but for some reason he loves it.
Yeah.
And he appreciates everything about it. He said the same. He said, the fact that this played at Tribeca is like, wow. But that's, he's like Sitges and Overlook and, Brooklyn horror and at the time New York City horror. He said, you kind of, that's what they do. He's like, but I agree with him on this, which is why I wanted to mention it, that I appreciate the fact that a festival like Tribeca, which is known for more highbrow kind of artistic and higher production value films, would play a film like this.
It's wild. Yeah.
So I don't think it happens often, but it clearly does happen because, again, last year they premiered Suitable Flesh.
Yeah. So I guess they pick and choose which kind of low budget independent horror film they want to screen.
You know what? I'll tell you, as having worked at a festival, I'll tell you that it's always about who the judges are. Yeah. Because some festivals have different judges every year, or they add new judges or they have something. And sometimes there's a film where one of the judges says, look, this is my film for this year. I want it. I loved this, something about it. And they just make a plea to all the other judges to say, maybe you guys didn't like it, but I did. And I think we should play this. And then, every judge has one every so often that it's like, look, you guys all hate it, but I love it. And they'll be like, you know what? Okay, you get this is your film for the year. So it's totally possible that there was just a judge that year that looked at this and said, you know what, there's something about this. I just love it and we have to play it. And the rest of them said, all right, fine.
Now, after that, so that was the premiere, May 6, 2004. It was released a year later, a little bit more, a little less actually, October 4th, 2005. So that's perfect timing for the Halloween season right there, beginning of October. I'm sure at video stores, because in 2004, 2005, there were still video stores. I think Blockbuster was even still around.
Yeah, it was.
This movie must have done well on the home video market because of the cover alone of the big demonic face holding the pumpkin. It just screams, rent me, it's Halloween. See what this crazy movie's about. And that's what I think. And it had, from what I saw and read online, it did well in the rentals. People were renting this movie.
It's a great cover art. To go on a little bit about the physical release before we move on from the actual. So I bought this because I hadn't seen it. You mentioned, you said, we want to cover this? I said, all right.
Sorry, Manny. I'm sorry
whatever.
I made you buy the movie.
Yeah. So I bought it. Again, we'll talk about that in a minute, but I bought it. And I was like, all right. Because I recognize that cover of the pumpkin guy and everything. And I watched it and I said, son of a bitch, this movie sucks. I went to put it away and I looked on my shelf.
Yes.
And I already had it. And as you see, I'd never opened it. This was on
two other random movies, funny enough.
And this is part of what bugged me about it, and I think this might be why it is what it is. That is a creature movie. This is a creature movie. This is not a creature movie.
No.
I thought the whole time going in that there was going to be like a little creature, and that is what he looked like.
Oh, okay.
Because looking at that art,
you thought it was going to be a supernatural.
I thought it was going to be like a Gremlins
monster.
or a Critters, Ghoulies type creature movie. I always thought that's what it was. Like even when I put it on with Lynn, I put it on with my wife, and she put it down, and I saw the art, the DVD, the Blu-ray menu, and it was, and she looked, and she thought she's like, oh, he looks so cute. Because we're expecting this little 2 foot tall creature with that freaking face. And that is not what I got at all. At all.
You got a
not even close.
I got in
this
a costume.
Fucking bullshit asshole. Just fucking stupid. Doesn't say a fucking word with this dumb child that I want to strangle him.
Oh man, this is gonna be a fun one to
I expected it because that's all I knew was just that face and the pumpkin. So I assumed, okay, it's a little guy. He's gonna come out of a pumpkin. Who knows? Maybe he's a little bigger than a pumpkin. That is what I expected it to be.
It's
a little
definitely being pushed as that with that cover.
That's what I expected. I expected a low, as if it's not low budget already, but I expected a low budget Ghoulies, as if Ghoulies had a budget.
As if that was a $150 million movie to make.
That is what I expected. And by God, if it wasn't the wool pulled over my eyes.
Oh man, I'm so happy we're covering this movie.
I'm happy that you're happy.
Before we go, and I didn't even shine any light on this. So the other cover, which I feel does the film a little more justice,
which is much more indicative of the piece of shit you're about to watch.
It does a better job at showing you that it is a grown man, and a child, and a woman crying on the top. Honestly, I do like this cover too. It feels very Halloween-y.
Again,
it's very
nice
Halloween-y.
art.
Yeah, it's good. It feels like Halloween. You got that pumpkin off to the my right, left, whatever corner of the page there. Trick-or-treaters in the distance. Even though those trick-or-treaters are, I think those are the kids on the bike. No, those are just random trick-or-treaters in the house. It's again very Halloween-y. Both covers. The other one's very Halloween-y as well. So I feel like I didn't mention this one at all. I didn't do it any justice, so I had to mention it there.
What the heck are you supposed to be, Wooly? Satan's little helper. That is so gay.
Now, Jeff Lieberman. What I find interesting, so this guy directed and wrote this film, so he's the writer-director. This guy directed And 3 films come to mind. They're all pretty popular films as far as horror movies go. Blue Sunshine, which is the LSD horror movie.
Crazy.
Great. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Before Dawn, great slasher film, sort of like almost like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of feel to it. And then Squirm, which is the killer worm movie. I have not seen that in a long time. I feel like Just Before Dawn I saw a few years ago. Squirm.
I've seen Blue Sunshine. I've seen Remote Control, obviously.
Yeah, that's the one with. I don't think I've
seen Just Before Dawn.
Is Kevin Dillon in that?
Yes. Remote Control, yeah.
Remote Control. So here's another thing. Remote Control was the last film he directed. So Jeff Lieberman did not direct the film for 17 years. And Satan's Little Helper is the first film he directs coming back as a director. So he took a break for 17 years, but he wrote The Neverending Story 3, which is random. And he worked on a bunch of documentaries. He kept working, but he stopped working in horror, which is interesting considering that the early stages of his career, that's the type of movies he was making. So to come back to it almost 20 years later, crazy as a director. He took a 17-year break as a director and got another movie made in like his 50s. It's impressive. It's impressive. I will give the guy credit. And he's been, not to jump forward too much, but I think he's been wanting to make a sequel to this movie. I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but I know he's mentioned it. He mentions it literally in the commentary that I kind of brushed over because some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and we're going to get into that in a second, I learned from the commentary and from the documentary that's on it and the behind-the-scenes stuff. So, but yeah. Jeff Lieberman is known as a horror director, and this was his return, and and it's funny that when they interviewed him, he says this is his favorite film. This is his favorite movie he's directed and created. I will admit, I think Just Before Dawn and Blue Sunshine are better. Better movies. I don't remember Squirm too much. Yeah, I don't remember Squirm too much, but I'm sure it might be better too. But
Blue Sunshine's a weird one, though. It's a weird film.
I just remember it as I haven't watched it in a while, but I remember it's the LSD drug one. Everyone's trippy and strange.
Very trippy.
Yeah, it's a very trippy film. And actually, you know what? Before I go into the cast, there's some stuff I want to point out here. So, Jeff Lieberman, the concept of this film, how he came up with the idea, this crazy idea of this child being obsessed with Satan and then following around a serial killer. So he used the concept of children sending letters to Santa and sort of flipped it where it's like, imagine if instead of a kid writing to Santa and saying, hey, I want this for Christmas, what they did was actually say like, hey, I want this person killed. Like, oh, I hate my teacher. They gave me an F in this and that in English, and I want them dead. So imagine if a kid could do that with a serial killer or a monster.
He'd write a letter to Satan instead of Santa.
Exactly. Then this was a really funny story that he goes off on a tirade explaining, and it was an inspiration for him. He's an interesting guy, very much a guy from New York who's like in his 60s and 70s. Some of the things he says and does, especially in the commentary, it's very old school. Dare I say, specifically one moment in this movie, and when we get to it later on, I will definitely mention it. But he said at his 50th birthday party, his birthday's in October, he decided to have a Halloween party, and a guy in a gorilla costume showed up, and he didn't know who it was. And the guy was being all pervy with the girls and the women, and he was being a dick. And he was like, only an asshole would dress up as a gorilla. That's like the asshole costume, and act like a fool and act like a dick to everyone and grope people. Yeah, there you go. Grope people and do all that fun stuff, I guess, back in the day. Even though I think this is when he was 50, so he was a grown man at this point. So that's interesting that he thought he'd be hanging out with immature people like that still. But hey, some of us don't grow up. But it turns out that the gorilla guy, the person in the costume, was a gorillagram. I've never heard of this. Apparently his friend, who I did not write in my notes, I did not write the actor's notes, but this was a comedian that was on SNL. I recognize his face. I didn't write down his name. My apologies.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And he sent a gorillagram as a joke, as a birthday gag. And this concept of this random dude just showing up to your party and you don't even know him, he could be anyone doing anything, is what was the seed planted to write the script and the concept for Satan's Little Helper. So
yeah, that was the thing back then, the 80s and 90s, like something like a gorillagram or a clowngram. Like, remember Ferris Bueller? She gets the singing telegram. The singing, the nurse that comes to the house that sings, and there's the guy there's a guy in a costume, and there's what's his name? Oh Jesus, what's his name? Louis Anderson with the balloons.
Yeah,
It was a thing that you could do. You send people a singing telegram or a
gorillagram in this case.
A costume sort of thing. Yeah, it was just a thing that they did that people could do back then. I'm gonna say by like 97, 99 or so, that was kind of not a thing. It was not a big thing. One. But that's what I'm saying. It was something that they did back then, but I think by this time it had already been kind of not a very popular thing. But considering his age and probably the age of the person who sent it, it was something that like, oh, this would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Makes sense. People our age, like we were teenagers at the time, it would have been like, this is kind of stupid. Like, it's kind of silly. Why would you do, like it's something that you just do yourself. Like, why would you pay someone to dress up like a gorilla? No, watch this. I'm going to put on a gorilla suit and show up at his party and he's going to have no idea. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's something you just do it yourself because that's,
That's literally what he says. He's like, it's an asshole costume dressing up as a gorilla. The other kind of behind the scenes stuff I learned from the commentary and the featurettes and all that on the Blu-ray, they shot this in July. We set it in White Plains, Connecticut, Maine. They shot all over the place. They shot, most of it was shot in White Plains, but some of the kind of, the pickup shots of the cars driving down a highway with the leaves changing and all that.
You find the nice spots, yeah.
They went to like Connecticut, and he even says at one point he drove the car in some of those shots. So he just went out there with the camera, with the DP, get these shots that I need to make this feel like it's set in the autumn.
I've done that drive in September, October, and you've done it, and it looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous.
It is. It's good, and it definitely adds to the film. It gives it that autumn vibe. Those shots really help. There's even the shot like when they're in the cemetery and you see all the leaves on the ground. That's actually the fall. They went back to that cemetery to shoot that so that they had leaves on the ground. So he did his best kind of cheating.
We should have done ourselves for Blood Slaughter.
Yes, probably. But he cheated it a lot, back and forth between the summer and actually the fall to kind of give it that feel. To the point that there's even, and I learned this something on the commentary, there's a yellow tree, like, trees start to change, orange, yellow. And throughout the film, one of their props guys moves the same tree in shots just to kind of cheat the fall vibes and fake leaves on the ground, kind of like what John Carpenter did with Halloween, the original Halloween, adding fake leaves in certain scenes because it was the middle of the summer. So I thought that's kind of funny how it kind of has a lot of similarities with the original Halloween film where, this warm weather and they're just cheating them being, it being set in the fall. Even them wearing coats and stuff. He said they must have been sweating because they shot that in the middle of July and they're wearing like a winter hat, jacket, coats, leather jackets and stuff. So I thought that was just an interesting tidbit. Another thing I thought was hysterical that I learned from the commentary and just behind the scenes. So the coat that Satan's wearing is a Hasidic coat. Did not pick up on that. I thought that was pretty funny. He says he remembers seeing guys where like he's from Brooklyn, wearing those coats. And he hats, said that the Satan needs to wear one of those. So I just thought that was really funny. Like I would have never picked up on it.
I mean, look, we've all been. I don't know about we've all, but you've been. I've been. We've been through Brooklyn. You go down. You go down Brooklyn. You see the people. The guys wearing those coats. When you're walking through those areas at like 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and it is weird. It is a weird thing because a lot of the time, like the highly religious people, they don't go out after sunset.
Yeah.
So to see people walking around the neighborhood at 2 a.m. is rare.
Yeah.
And when you see someone in one of those coats, you know, one of those long coats come, it is a kind of creepy sight. Suddenly there's a person.
Yeah. And it's all
the
black
streets,
and
yeah, that's to say the streets become really empty.
Yeah.
You know, at a certain time at night. And then suddenly there's one, because you know, people walk around, they have lives, they have things to do.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
They have things to do. But yeah, come 1 and 2 in the morning, there's nobody in the streets. There's one guy coming down the street with this long black coat. You know why he's wearing the coat. Because it's a religious neighborhood. But it's still a creepy sight.
I agree.
It's still a creepy sight.
Don't want to offend anyone here.
No,
but
that's
yes,
what I'm saying. No,
it is creepy.
like, you know, but you know, it's a religious thing. That's what they wear.
I do think it's hysterical that he was like, you know what my Satan character needs to wear? A Jewish Hasidic coat. Yep. So I'm sure if they saw that,
Sid Haig would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure if he was in a Jewish neighborhood, they wouldn't appreciate it. Seeing this dude with this mask.
Eli
and
Roth
gloves.
would appreciate it.
Yes, but he's not Hasidic, so I don't. Maybe
He's
that's
Jewish,
why.
though.
Yes, he is. You're right.
He's
you're
Jewish.
Right. On the subject, before I move on with the synopsis of the film and what happens in this glorious movie, let's describe his mask and the mask itself. So, what I learned, once again, commentary and documentary on the Blu-ray, he saw this mask somewhere. They had trouble finding it because the manufacturer had made it early in his career, like this mask maker or whatever, manufactured a couple early in his career, lost the mold, lost everything. They found him, reached out to him. They were able to, because he didn't have any of this stuff to reproduce the mask. He ended up finding a random collector, hunting the guy down, getting the mask, and making a mold of it to create three of them for the film. So, and even to this day, and I'm surprised, no one has picked up the rights to this movie and manufactured the mask.
Yeah.
Because even I was like, oh, that'd be kind of a cool mask to have, just, you know, if you're a fan of the movie. But to this day, or at least according to, and listeners, if I'm wrong, please let me know. But specifically in the documentary, the behind the scenes documentary, the guy who created the mask said he's surprised no one's licensed the rights to it and reproduced the mask. So it's still to this day a rare mask to find. You're not going to find this in stores. And to describe it's basically like a gray face. You saw us showing the picture. That's what it looks like. But big grin, gray face, a little kind of goatee, long gray hair, big giant kind of bug eyes, horn, 2 sets of horns. Mm-hmm. Yellow teeth. That's basically what it is, and then gray hands to match on his. He's literally wearing them the entire film.
Yeah.
That's basically what he looks like. It's a cool mask. I like it. I like the look of.
It is a cool looking.
I like him. He's got the shoulder pads underneath the Hasidic coat, which is just him looking like an idiot with the miming and doing all that with the shoulder pads and the shoulder pads, the coat, the mask, the gloves. It just looks silly, but it kind of works for the tone of the film.
Because there's like no neck at that point.
Yeah,
with the shoulder pads, like there's no neck. He's just kind of moving.
And it's kind of it's kind of a bulky, loose mask, so it kind of bounces around when the actor's like. He doesn't speak, so when he does and he's miming stuff and waving and flipping people off and killing people, it does sort of bounce around, so it just looks silly. But again, that's what the movie is going for.
Is all that stuff to tape people up, kill them, and spill their guts out? Awesome!
Now the cast. We've got probably the most actor of note in this movie. We have Amanda Plummer.
The biggest waste of her fucking time.
Amanda Plummer as the mom. Mama Wooly. The mom, Wooly. Come on, it's Amanda Plummer, Pulp Fiction, Needful Things, Joe versus the Volcano. She's been in so many movies. Yep. I'm sure most cinephiles know who Amanda Plummer is. I don't know how they landed her. She's also a New Yorker, so there must be some sort of...
She was... Yeah. It was an audition. They actually had her audition. One of the producers, I think, had done something with her and suggested her. and Joe Lieberman did not want her. Jeff Lieberman did not think she could do it. And I say, well, he should be kicked in the side of his head for that. I'm sorry. If you thought
Amanda Plummer, dude.
Oh, come on. Seriously. No, he wanted someone else. I forget who he said that he had, but he didn't think that she could do this. And he actually had her audition because he wanted to see. Yeah. And he still wasn't sold at first. I guess she worked for it for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I think that one of the producers just knew her and said, I think you're right for this and you need to do this. And, he convinced her into it. So she did it and made her audition. Like, Jeff Lieberman, what is wrong with you?
In the commentary, he constantly calls her a little loopy and crazy several times.
She is. She is. Yeah. That's her. That's what she plays. She plays those really weird, quirky characters. But
he mentions, like, he literally says, she was a little eccentric at times, and at least 3 or 4 times he says it throughout the commentary. So I'm sure he hasn't seen her since they shot this. So that's his relationship with Amanda Plummer.
He clearly didn't want the mother to be what she was, and it is strange.
It is strange, but I think her performance, Amanda Plummer's performance as the mother, adds this weird kind of vibe to the movie. And honestly, I'll be very honest, she doesn't even look like the mother of these children. She does not look like their mother.
That's what he said. Oh, I remember that now. He said he does not believe. He said the problem with it, I think they'd already cast Catherine Winnick.
Okay.
And his problem was she does not look like she could be the mother of Catherine Winnick because Catherine is too pretty. He literally said that she's too ugly to be this girl's mother.
Hey, I don't know. All right.
That was his big problem.
Listen,
Amanda Plummer is too ugly to be Catherine Winnick's mother.
I don't remember hearing that, but
that is what he said.
I'll
yes,
take your word for it.
Me and Lynn both heard. I had to rewind. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
So there's that. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of appearance and looks, it's still Amanda Plummer who is a fantastic actor. So whatever. He's the director, not me. I didn't direct this goddamn thing. Listen, Amanda Plummer, you want to be in my movie? Sure. If you want to be in one of Manny's movies, I'm sure he'll take you too. So there you go.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'll take.
It's kind of bizarre.
But she's too pretty to be his mother. Her father is Christopher Plummer, one of the most handsome men in the history of Hollywood. Like,
weird.
Seriously.
Weird. But you mentioned Catherine Winnick. She plays Jenna, the daughter, one of the other leads.
The reason for watching this film. She carries the whole damn movie.
Yes, she does. She has done a bunch of TV. I saw that Hellraiser Hellworld is on her IMDb. Mostly
she's
TV.
One of 5 people in that movie.
Yeah, she's done a lot of television. So a lot of the actors have kind of I don't want to say unknown, but just actors that have popped up in mostly television and stuff like that.
She was really good in this, and she'd been in a lot of stuff, but nothing major. It's kind of like she reminds me of, I can't remember the actress's name in Happy Death Day.
Yes, I forget her name too.
Yeah, she reminds me of her, even in her performance and everything. And it's funny that both of them, I'm surprised that even the girl from Happy Death Day has not exploded all over the place. How is she not a bigger actress?
It's weird. Yeah,
I feel the same way about her. How did she not become a bigger actress?
Yeah, Catherine Winnick is really good in this. She's wearing a wench costume the entire film, which, respectfully, she looks phenomenal in. She's a very attractive woman.
What's her name? I can't
respectfully, I get why they casted her, like to cast her, and I could see her next to Amanda Plummer. I get it, but you can't really. That's unfair to say that she's like Amanda Plummer is not, I guess, good looking enough to be this girl's daughter, to be this girl's mother, for her to be her daughter. Yeah. Really weird, but whatever.
Considering the kid is ugly as shit too.
All right, Manny. So, speaking of the kid,
He looks like that ugly kid from Stranger Things, too. He's another one I can't stand looking at his face.
Everyone in this is ugly except for Catherine Winnick, apparently. I'm kidding. I'm joking. But yes, Alexander Bickle plays Dougie, the little boy. Dougie Woolley.
Pie-faced Dougie.
Yeah. He almost reminds me of a little Tony Khan. That's what he kind of looks like in this. from AEW wrestling fans out there. And he's in the documentary. He's got this mustache now and long hair. And dare I say it, he's giving me Tony Khan vibes. Like he obviously has like a hair.
I watched that and I said, this guy's a theater because he didn't do any other movie. He did one other movie and that's it. But he's still a theater kid. He does live theater. I can tell. Watching him, his personality, his excitement, the way I said, this kid he still acts. He just does theater. Yeah. I do. I think he does theater.
And then to round out, we've got Stephen Graham as Alex, Jenna's maybe boyfriend or love interest in the film. He too has not been in a lot of TV and some smaller films from what I saw. Nothing that really popped when I looked up his IMDb. But that's basically the cast. And then you've got a random guy, I didn't get his name and I apologize, who plays the Satan Man. That's basically his name is Joshua Annex. There you go. I pulled up the IMDb right in front of me, but he plays the Satan Man throughout the entire film. Now to finally get into what happens in Satan's Little Helper. Now, the film follows Dougie Woolley, a 9-year-old boy who is severely obsessed with this really shitty, and I mean these effects are extremely shitty. And apparently in the commentary, Jeff Lieberman says they knock these out in a day. These effects for the video game, and you can tell they're pretty rough.
Looks like a weak Nintendo game.
Yeah, like really weak. It looks like
first generation Nintendo game. Yeah.
It looks like this was created using Mario Paint from the N64. Not even N64, the Super Nintendo. I'm going back a generation. But yeah, he's obsessed with this game called Satan's Little Helper, hence the title of the movie. And this game literally lays the foundation of the plot to the rest of the movie. I'm going to tell you that right now. His obsession with this game is why shit hits the fan in the film. Also, he is dressed as a little devil, kind of in this retro Beastle, Ben Cooper style Halloween costume the entire film. So he is literally obsessed with Satan, and his family is cool with it. His dad, his mom, his sister, no one cares that this kid is obsessed with. He's
dressed as
Satan.
A character from a video game. That's
I get it. I know.
We wore costumes that probably had, strange, like, why are you wearing that? You're 9. You shouldn't be wearing that. But
yeah, it's just some of the conversations he has in the movie with like Amanda Plummer and stuff. It's just kind of bizarre.
That's a separate
Satan. Yeah, it's just weird. Kind of. She goes through this whole spiel about like Satan not being real but being a force and blah blah blah. I was just it's interesting.
There's a lot of weird dialogue in this film that makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. Strange. We meet Jenna, Dougie's older sister, who's coming home from college. We meet their mother, Amanda Plummer, who supports Dougie's strange behavior. And then we meet Alex. Again, Jenna's kind of new fling, possible boyfriend. It's their first date. They don't really know each other that well. It's very strange.
Which is weird, considering the rest of the movie.
And he's staying with them, and he has family in town.
He's spending Halloween with them. It's so when we first meet him, Dougie meets him.
Yeah.
And Dougie, now they didn't say, but Dougie is clearly playing like he's on the spectrum.
Yes.
The kid is clearly some level of autistic, some type of, because when he first meets the boyfriend, the girl, the sister introduces them, and at first I thought that Catherine Winnick was playing his babysitter.
Okay.
Because when the kid meets the boyfriend, he runs off upset. And then she says, "What's wrong with him?" And the mother, who's about to chase, turns around and says, he has had his mind set on marrying you.
Yeah, on marrying her. I think
Marrying
he said,
her, talking to the boyfriend.
Because Alex was there.
Yes, that the little boy is set on marrying her. And so I first thought that this was his babysitter. And then a few scenes later, I'm like, wait, this is his sister? And I rewound to the introduction of her. I'm like, yep, this is his fucking sister.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
There's a weird incest thing.
So that's why I say, like, the kid has to have, there's some sort of developmental something that they have him playing.
Jenna's my girlfriend. I'm gonna marry her.
Says he's gonna marry her.
Yeah.
I don't think they got up to the word incest in the 3rd grade yet.
That's weird that the mother is kind of okay with the fact that he said he wants to marry his own sister.
There is a scene before they pick them up at the boat dock place or whatever, where she jokes around that he does not understand what incest is. Like she says that. Amanda Plummer says that. So it's implied that it's innocent. He's just 9 and dumb and 9 and dumb. And
he's as I say, he either has a disability or this is just a stupid kid that they wrote.
I mean, it's harmless but weird, and I think early in the film,
I think it's harmless if he was younger. I think by 9-10 years old,
you know the difference.
The parents, their mother would be like, "Okay, Dougie, you need to get this straight." You know?
Yeah, it's bizarre. For me, it's like there. And even later on, there's like a lot. They over sexualize Jenna in the film a lot early on, and then it does the weird kind of attraction or like marrying or the weird incest angle with the little boy does fizzle out about a half hour into the film. They don't go back to it. It's just early kind of establishing the character. It's weird.
There's a lot of inconsistencies in the characterizations.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. She just met this guy. She doesn't know him that well, and she's a little hesitant at first with the guy. She's kind of keeping him at a distance as the mother says something. I forget what it was. She says something to her and she goes, "Mom, I just met him. I barely know this guy. We're only seeing each other." And then there's a moment later where, we'll get to that. Get to that in the plot. You'll get to that in the plot. Go ahead.
So you mentioned Dougie getting upset when he meets Alex because Jenna wants to date Alex, or they have a thing going on, so he's pissed off.
Seeing each other,
yeah, he's pissed off. He runs out and he runs into a serial killer, which is the guy wearing the costume we described.
He literally sees a guy murdering someone in a house and propping the dead body up as a decoration.
He does this a couple times. Halloween. Yeah, that's like his shtick.
That's like his first thing.
Yeah,
like. We're watching it. This guy's clearly dead. He clearly killed someone, and he's clearly putting a dead body on the porch as though it was a decoration. So the kid thinks it's a decoration.
Yeah, he thinks this is all fake. Yeah. So he sees
Satan. He's either disabled or stupid.
So he sees Satan. He sees him hanging out there, setting up decorations. And since he's so naive, he thinks this is the actual Satan from the game that he loves playing and is obsessed with, and wants his help in sending Alex to hell. Because that's what you do to people in the game. You send them to hell, you kill them, and send them to hell because Dougie is pissed off that this guy is dating his sister who he wants to marry. So he brings Satan home. I'm going to refer to the killer in this movie as Satan the entire time.
He's Satan.
He's Satan. So while this is all happening, we get a bunch of exposition with Jenna, and Mom talking about her relationship with Alex. Mom gives Jenna the sexy wench costume, which she wears literally most of the film. Again, she looks phenomenal
she gives
in
her
it.
This costume so that she can impress him. Yes. And look here, you want to, like, Mom is pimping her daughter out to the new boyfriend.
I'm going to say this now. Obviously, Jeff Lieberman, and again, I say this respectfully, thought that she was hot. She was hot. She's a good-looking girl. So he took advantage of that, I think, in this movie a lot by, again, I said it before, over-sexualizing her. Her entire stomach is showing. She's got a push-up bra on. She's flaunting it. And obviously she was cool with it because she's in this movie, or as far as I know, she was cool with it. He says a joke, and we'll get it. He says something in the commentary that I was like, oof, that either will not age well or has not aged well. So what ends up happening is he leaves Satan in the basement. He goes upstairs and he starts, telling the family that he has Satan. He's seen Satan. He is with Satan. They think he's stupid and they're brushing him off, which
Hell is in the basement. Yeah.
Yeah. Which again, Manny has said it. This kid's dumb. That's basically what he says. So he goes and explains this all to his family. And then Alex gets the bright idea of, hey, I'll dress up as Satan for Halloween so that Dougie and me can connect in a way, which is a good idea. I guess if this brother, the little brother doesn't like you and he's upset, so maybe this is a good way to win him over. So Alex and Dougie head out to a costume shop and Satan follows them. And his plan...
Well, the plan... Okay,
yeah, there you go.
I was going to make sure you didn't skip that part.
I didn't skip it. So the plan is for Satan to follow. So Dougie tells Satan to follow them so that he can kill Alex in the process and get rid of him, because that's all Dougie wants. But what ends up happening is, and this is weird too in the plot, considering what Satan does later, he doesn't kill Alex. He just beats him unconscious and
beats the shit out of him.
Dresses him up as a decoration. And at this point, I will mention one really mean-spirited thing in this movie. He uses a cat. He picks up a cat after knocking out and dragging Alex's body to like this abandoned house with a couch. He grabs a cat, slams its head into like wood that's nailed into the side of the house, and then writes the word boo with the cat's blood. Yeah. Probably the most graphic thing in the entire movie. It is. And probably the most mean-spirited thing in the entire film. I could have done without that. Just because I'm an animal lover. Just not cool, bro. It was really almost unnecessary.
It was random. It was very like, why did you do that? What was the purpose of that? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So Alex has been taken care of for now. Everyone thinks he's a prop. Everyone thinks he's a Halloween decoration.
Where's Alex? Did he get the costume?
Yeah.
And? Well, where is he?
Helpers don't tell them they're masters.
So you boys are into this game already.
I can see your boomies.
You're more like Satan's little pervert.
Satan comes back with Dougie to the house, and now the family, including the girlfriend, Jenna, think that Satan is the boyfriend in a costume now.
Well, he said he was going to dress up as Satan.
Yes, but we accept this now, and Satan does not speak. He's very Terrifier. He doesn't speak. Yeah. He doesn't make any sound. He doesn't do anything. He just stands there and nods, and with his hand, that's
it's
it.
Like miming. He's miming everything.
He mimes through the entire film, and
basically, look, this is the way.
This is where it just gets dumber and dumber and dumber, because now the whole family, now the mother and the sister, and they all accept Satan as the boyfriend.
It's Alex.
He is, yes, this is Alex in a costume. He's acting really weird. Why are you being strange? Oh, let me take you upstairs. He farts fondling her.
Yeah,
this is that here. Now he just met her. They're only dating a few days or so.
It's implied that he's like a prude.
And he's a prude. Yeah. Now suddenly he's all hands all over her. He brings her in the bedroom and goes down on her.
Yeah.
With them, and she's all for it. 5 minutes ago, she just met him, and we're taking it slow. Now he throws her up against the wall. We're like seconds. This is like moments away from like a real sexual abuse moment.
It's an assault almost, yeah.
It really does. He's about to.
Yeah, it's kind of...
and she starts getting weird, like, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then Dougie comes in and interrupts, And she never finds this strange again.
Yeah. My only defense...
we just move on.
My only defense is that because they mention it in dialogue very briefly and it's brushed over. They're both actors, or Alex is trying to be an actor, so they're taking this as like him going method as Satan in the costume. That's what they think is happening. I agree, though, him copping all the feels is a little aggressive. And this goes back to what I mentioned before. So yeah, so as soon as Satan enters the house and they think it's Alex, the first thing he does when he sees her in this very scantily clad wench outfit, he goes up to her, presses on her boobs, pushes them up, and is like rubbing them. This is not even when he takes her upstairs and does all the things you described.
Before that.
Now, in the commentary, I don't know if Jeff Lieberman was joking. He says that those are his hands, and that no. He said that the actor portraying Satan couldn't really see and didn't know how to do it. So Catherine, the actor that's playing Jenna, she recommended that Jeff Lieberman show the actor playing Satan how to fondle her. So Jeff Lieberman went up and touched her boobs, smashed them together to show the actor that's playing Satan how to do it because he can't really see. And he was like, hard day at the office, Jeff Lieberman says. Okay, cool. I mean, she hasn't complained.
She told him to do it.
Yeah, that's what he says.
She told him to do it. So
Catherine Winnick has not complained or come out saying she was against any of this. So I just thought it was an interesting thing to say on the commentary, a very old school mentality for him to say that he showed the actor playing Satan how to grope her. Nice. That's basically what he was saying. Yeah. Okay, but... Just wanted to mention that there because I thought that was a weird thing. I would not admit that if I was doing a director's commentary, but hey, to each his own. It's
one of those things. Just
keep that to yourself, buddy.
Keep that in the production diary and move on.
Yeah, I thought that was really just kind of weird. So yeah, so after the whole thing with no one knowing that, everyone thinking that Alex is Satan, Dougie and Satan go out to go trick or treating. And the plan is to, basically, they cause all kind of debauchery. I guess that's kind of the plan. It's like, let's go trick-or-treating and cause madness like the game. So there's shoplifting, there's murders, there's executions. Some of my favorite moments are in this scene, so I'm going to move forward. And when we get to some of our favorite things, I'll talk about them more in depth. Now, after this... crazy trick-or-treating,
chaos,
murder, massacre,
crazy
debauchery.
Taxi scene.
Yes. After all the executions that they do.
Kills a bunch of people.
While trick-or-treating. At this point is where we get a subplot involving Alex's father and him not having a good relationship. The two of them don't speak. Satan kills Alex's dad by tossing him out of a window. He kills Alex's dad's mistress.
And Dougie sees all of this.
Yeah,
and
he's cool
he
with
just
it.
Doesn't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
He's killing them and sending them to hell. Yay! Like, he thinks this is a live video game. Like,
yes, they're trick-or-treating escapades. That's what he's taking these murders at. So Alex's dad, dead. Murdered. And I only mention that because it plays into the ending. Yeah. Satan and Dougie encounter some cops who Satan dispatches, and I'm going to point this out here at this point in the film. So Dougie leaves, Satan kills the two cops. This is where they separate. And here, we don't see it, but we learn about it later on. Satan kills every cop in this island town by saran wrapping and strangling them. Every cop is dead in this small town. So every cop. The precinct has been burned down. Yep. It's ridiculous. So
it's it's just, this is why this is so fucking stupid, because it's, you know what? You wrote yourself into a corner where you're like, how is nobody calling the cops on them? So you just pass it off with some dialogue. Oh, he killed all the cops. Like, you know what? You know what? No, sorry. You can't yada, yada, yada through murdering in a police precinct full of cops and burning it down. You can't hand wave that away. Sorry.
Jeff Lieberman did.
Well, that's the sorts of things that makes this movie so stupid. And those are the things that I hated about it. Like, because it's not a badly made movie.
Mm-hmm.
They have a decent enough budget to do what they wanted to do with it. The effects are not very gory but they don't look bad for what they do. The performances are fairly decent. The kid is annoying as shit, but they had mostly everything they needed to make a good movie. And they just didn't. He just didn't. He just got in his own way with the stupid shit that he just kept adding and adding. Like, he killed all the cops in the town. Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? How did he make his way through all the cops in the town without other cops stopping him?
It makes no sense.
It's just dumb.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the point of this film is supposed to be silly. It's supposed to be dumb, dude.
And it's not funny. That's the other thing, too. It's supposed to be, but it's just dumb.
There's one sequence I love that made me laugh, and I'll talk about that later on. But, and you probably know what it is. You can guess what it is. But at the same time, all the cops are dead. The town is also being rioted by people. And in the commentary, it's hysterical because it's like the same group of 6 guys. Those are the rioters because they didn't have a big budget. So that's all they could show was like 6 drunk guys running around wearing Halloween masks. So eventually Alex wakes up and he makes his way to go help Dougie and Jenna and their mom. He's like, wants to warn them that, this Satan guy beat him up and he thinks Dougie set him up to get beat up, etc., etc. Back at the house, Satan returns to his antics. Jenna gets frustrated and starts to think that, all right, this is getting out of hand. She starts to kind of just think like, this is weird. She starts to pick up on some
shit.
There's some certain things he's doing that just don't jive with her. And she's telling him basically, cut the method approach. Like, this is enough. Dougie and Jenna's father show up, who does not look like he's supposed to be their father at all. This is to me is worse casting than Amanda Plummer. The dad shows up. He's in the film for 2 seconds. Satan shows up, and this is where they find out, okay, this is not Alex in a costume because Satan guts the dad, murders him in front of them. Dougie's crying because he's that's not what I wanted.
But even before that, she realized that it wasn't him. Jenna realized she figured it out already at this point. When the father comes home, Jenna's standing at the bottom of the stairs, and she's like, whoever's upstairs is not Alex.
Yeah, there's a weird thing with like a shoe.
Yeah, well, yes.
That weird scene where she looks at like his shoe and he's wearing a pink leather, like crocodile skin shoe.
Whatever it was.
Weird.
Yeah. So there's this moment. The father comes home with the son's all, Dougie's all happy to see dad, and mom's happy to see how, but Jenna is staring up the stairs because there's someone upstairs that is not Alex, and she's visibly upset by this. And the father comes and he's like, no, he's upstairs. And she's like, and he goes to go upstairs. She says, no, Dad, there's someone upstairs and I don't know who it is. And the father looks at her and he says, wait a minute, are you serious? The father sees the fear in her eyes. And I said, okay, this just got really good. This was the moment where I said, this is great. All right, the movie's about to pick up, And then Dougie comes to the father, and the father picks him up, and they go, and he just forgets about it. And I said, nope, you fucked it up again. This is what I say. They keep getting to these points where you got something right here. You're close, and then you fuck it up again by just letting the characters do stupid things. Like, the father had a moment where, like, his daughter is visibly scared and frightened. And I'm sorry, any father sees that look on their daughter's face, there's nothing that's going to break that moment from finding out what is scaring my 16, 17, however, 19-year-old, maybe 20-year-old, however old she is. Your daughter is visibly frightened by and she said, there's a man upstairs. And you just came home. No, that there was nothing that's going to stop him.
The movie at this point could have used a tone shift. I agree.
And I thought that's what was coming. The problem with
don't think that's what they wanted to do, though. No, hence why the dad is killed in 5 seconds.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And now we know. And then I said, okay, great. Now we're going to do this whole moment where we're going to fight him in the house. and we go on for another 45 fucking minutes, and we tie them up, and we take them to a Halloween party, and we go across town, and we come back to the house, and we're looking for other people, and
So yes,
this movie could have been over in 15 minutes, and we go another 45.
yeah, it's interesting. It is a long movie. But
For no fucking reason. It's
so dad's dead. The dad is dead. They all know now that that's not Alex.
this is a killer. Clearly.
Even Dougie is crying because his father was just killed. That's not what he wanted. He thought it was a game.
He's not even upset at who he is. He's just, that's not what I wanted.
That's not what he wanted.
Stupid child.
So what ends up happening is Satan kidnaps mom, wraps her up with bubble wrap and tape. They head to this Halloween party that she planned on going to with the father, and they were just planning on attending it that night, and Satan hears about it, so that's where he decides to take her. Again, I mentioned every cop is dead. The town is rioting. Alex finally shows up, and Jenna and him go to save the mom. They're like, we have to go to the party.
And they put on costumes so that Satan
Disguises.
doesn't recognize them.
Yeah, they put on like an ogre and a chicken costume. They look like mascot costumes. They head to the party. At the party, Satan poisons a bunch of party goers with Drano.
He puts Drano in the punch.
He continues gagging the mom more and more.
And someone's
teasing her
stomach
with
explodes from it.
Yeah.
Like, it explodes. His stomach explodes.
Satan continues
From
again.
Drano.
He's threatening the mother a bunch of times with basically she's all covered up except for her nose, so he can suffocate her completely and kill her. He keeps kind of teasing her with it.
In front of everyone.
Yeah, in front. And no one
There's a
everyone at the
whole
party is
here.
oblivious. Yeah.
This woman has literal plastic wrap over her face, and she is suffocating, and everyone thinks it's just part of the costume. They're treating it like it's part of the costume.
Satan feels up a woman and taking a photo. A lot of feeling up in this film. A random woman he doesn't know. They think it's the husband. That's basically what they think. It's the husband, and they think that she's a tied up. She's a Chiquita banana lady, is what Amanda Plummer is dressed up as, the mother in this film. So Jenna, Alex show up in their stupid costumes, and what ends up happening is Satan tapes mom, leaves her in the crowd. Satan leaves, and Jenna runs up to the mom, tries to...
Who's now dying.
Yeah, who's dying, suffocating. Tries to remove the tape, but there's a gag earlier where she bites her nails, so she asks someone in the crowd, who has nails, to help her rip off the tape. I mean, at least they set up the joke. Like, there's a payoff with that stupid... with the stupid biting nails gag. But she eventually is able to rip off the tape and save her mother. Alex follows Satan and confronts him, but what ends up happening is Satan raises his hand like his father did earlier when he tries to visit his father, which I didn't even mention because there's so many subplots in this movie.
You're my dad.
So now Alex thinks that Satan's his father.
He thinks his father is a serial killer.
Yeah.
He suddenly thinks his father, like with that one, his father's been running around killing people all night.
I'm skimming through all that because there are a lot of mentions of his dad. He dresses up as his father at one point. He gets a Halloween mask that kind of looks like his dad. He wears it. He does not like his father, and now he thinks his father is the serial killer. He thinks his father is Satan because Satan raised his hand in a similar manner as his father. And Satan shoots himself in the hand for some reason and then walks off, and Alex is like, okay, it's my dad, whatever. He lets Satan walk away. That to me is the strangest scene. And I don't want to complain. Yeah, but this is the subplot with Alex to me is just the whole father and Alex, and then him letting Satan go because he thinks it's his dad. It's undercooked. I don't like it, and it wasn't necessary. So Jenna, Alex, and Mom head to Alex's dad's house. They find Satan standing by a tree. Jenna shoots him, Jenna or Alex, one of them. They shoot Satan, who's standing by a tree. Blood pours out. Someone is dead. They think, We killed Satan. You as the audience know that Satan is not dead, but the characters think they did. They go over to the body, remove the Satan mask, and it's revealed to be Alex's dad. So
his theory is confirmed.
Yes. To the character. We know
to the character.
that Satan is still around.
Because we're not stupid.
Yes. Dougie prays for God's help, and then Satan shows up dressed as Jesus. Trying to run down this ending because a lot happens in this ending.
It just keeps fucking going.
It keeps going, yeah.
We go back to the house. Jesus is at the house, and he's still doing the mime thing. And while all this is happening, Alex is still at his dad's house in the front lawn with his dad's dead body, but nobody's fucking noticed this yet. It's been a good half hour, maybe. He's just sitting on the lawn with this dead body.
So Satan, now dressed as Jesus, goes for a walk with Dougie. And Jenna eventually finds Dougie because the two separate once again. And then Jenna realizes that Satan swapped places with Alex's dad.
Satan is Jesus.
Because Dougie explained to her that he saw Alex's dad get killed, but I don't know how he would have known that. I guess that too is something I missed. So
she realizes that it wasn't really him, and she pieces it together. And
yes. So they now know that Jesus is Satan. So what happens? They go back now to their house to go confront.
For the third time in 3 scenes in a row. We leave, come back, leave, come back, leave.
Jesus there's a quick scene where Jesus knocks out Alex again for the second time because he's mourning his father's death. You kind of can see where this is going. Mom shows up. Jenna and her investigate the house looking for Satan while Dougie's outside looking for cops and calling for cops and praying for cops and on the walkie-talkie asking for help. They get to the basement. They come across Jesus now, standing there, not attacking them, not doing anything. They stab and beat the shit with a crowbar. Jenna has a crowbar. Amanda Plummer, mom, has a knife. She stabs up Jesus. Jenna beats Jesus with the crowbar to death. They remove the mask and they discover Alex gagged underneath the Jesus mask. And the film finally ends with Dougie, again, finally he's praying left and right. His prayers for help and cops and officers to show up and help him. A cop finally shows up in front of the house. But before entering the house, the cop spray paints an extra 6 on their house number.
Because the address is 66.
Yeah, so now it's 666. And the cop is visibly wearing like a human skin mask or something. There's like a human.
But Dougie is too stupid to realize this.
He enters the house, and that is the end. We're left with a cliffhanger. There's some voiceover.
Oh, there's no fucking cliffhanger.
The cliffhanger is that Satan is still alive in the house, and we get the
cliffhanger. It's not a cliffhanger. They just ran out of money. They officially ran out of money to give it the 4th fucking ending. They just couldn't. They couldn't film the final. So you know what? We're gonna have to end it here because we're out of money, time, patience, ideas.
Satan's alive, and that was the end of Satan's Little Helper.
We went to the store and got the candy. Then Satan let me ride in the shopping cart, and we ran all these people over. Then he took me to hell where we went trick-or-treating. It was so cool.
Now, Manny, you obviously hated this movie.
This was so stupid.
You think it's just so dumb. You've complained. We didn't even have to get to the stuff we disliked about this movie for you to just get to it while we broke down what happened in this movie. And I will admit,
because I didn't think there was any point in going back and reiterating everything. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna say it as you go through this. Like,
you hated this film.
So dumb.
You explained why you disliked it so much. So you know what I want you to do? Something you did like about the movie. 1 or 2 things you did enjoy about Satan's Little Helper.
I thought Jenna she did a good job. I thought
Catherine Winnick is good.
Catherine Winnick was good in the film. You know, I think the mask looks good. It's a really cool looking mask.
I think Amanda Plummer, and we already
she did fine. She was fun.
She was fun in it.
She's Amanda Plummer. She has a shtick that she does. She's like
she feels pulled out of a completely different film, though. I will admit that.
Well, you know what it is. It's very. You say that, but here's. I think this is the thing. There are character actors out there, and there's very few women who are character actors.
Of course, yeah.
Christopher Walken is the same person in every movie. Clint Howard is the same person in every movie. But nobody says, oh, it feels like they were pulled from another movie. No. Amanda Plummer's a character actor. She does a specific thing. So it's not that she was this is what she does. That's who she is. This is the type of actress that she is. Yeah. So I mean, I do kind of get what Jeff Lieberman's saying is that he didn't want her because she brings a specific thing to it, and that's not what he wanted out of the mother. So I get that. But at the same time, when someone offers you Amanda Plummer, you fucking take her. You don't make her audition. Like, no. You know what? It's Amanda Plummer. Let's do this. Let's see where this stupid, weird, ridiculous movie goes in the first place. You're telling me that Amanda Plummer was too much for you? This was the moment where he was like, no, I don't think she can do that. Do what? You don't think she can do what? Because she played that character better than you wrote this script. Okay.
I mean, but outside of Amanda Plummer and Catherine Winnick, what is there anything else you enjoyed about the film?
No, not one thing. The rest of the movie is just even from the misleading poster art to the 17 endings and the 45 minutes later when this movie should have been over with.
Okay.
No, from beginning to end, terrible. It's just stupid.
Now I could see why people hate this movie. I can see how you can be extremely critical with it because it's a stupid movie. There is something so bizarre about this film, and that's why I like it.
You know what? I don't find it bizarre.
And that's fine. That's your interpretation of the movie.
Bizarre, I get bizarre. I didn't find it bizarre. I just like this is just badly done. It's just what's bizarre. Bad.
Here's my Louis' perspective on Satan's Little Helper. This movie is a first draft. 100%.
Oh, easily. Yes, 100%.
This is, and I think I'm looking at it from a filmmaker perspective. This isn't like Zombie Nightmare where people got involved and made the movie
fell
bad.
apart
The
as it went
director, the person that should have directed the film didn't get to direct it. The producer directed and did whatever they wanted. This is a movie where Jeff Lieberman did exactly what he wanted.
He could do anything he wanted, and this is what he chose to do.
And tonally, it does not work.
Nope.
This movie is a mess.
Yeah.
It doesn't know what it wants to be. This is a bad movie. I said it at the beginning of the show. Listen, this isn't, for me at least, in why I like it. And there's a couple little things I want to talk about that I find fucking hysterical and so stupid in this movie. But this movie is bad because no one told Jeff Lieberman, hey man, I don't think that works. I don't think the character would do this. Where are you going with this? Why is this a joke, but then this girl's going through this, and then you kill a cat, which is really kind of dark, and then you got the parking lot scene, which I'm going to get into in a second. Then you got that random old lady, the trick-or-treating with the old lady scene, the throwing the guy through the window. It just is a mess. It's almost like The Room. I think Jeff Lieberman had some talented people in front of the camera and behind the camera that if he was working with Joe Schmo or a really, really indie crew and indie group of actors, this would have been The Room. This would have been a terrible movie. Like terrible not that it's a bad movie in the script and the way it looks in the film. It's bad in he doesn't know what he's doing. Like this is a movie that it's just like he doesn't know. Jeff Lieberman can make a movie. He knows how to make a movie. He's done it. He's made good movies. So that's what I think is so ridiculous about this movie is that you could just tell no one was over his shoulder and he did what he wanted. In the commentary, he says it. I wanted this movie to be mean-spirited. I wanted this movie to be stupid. There is a point in this movie, I'm not going to repeat the word that's said. This was 2004, so this was different times. One of the writers go up to Satan and say, "What's up, my N-word?" Mm-hmm. Jeff Lieberman in the commentary says that's his cameo. He said the voice. Jeff Lieberman is a white man from Brooklyn. He has two cameos, right? But the N-word part, he purposely said he did the ADR voiceover work for that scene.
And it's clearly ADR'd.
Yes. But I'm just, and you know,
it was clearly not said by the actor on. Yes, so that was his decision.
He made
in editing.
Decision.
I'm going to add this line.
I'm going to add in this word, and I get it. It was 2004. It was a different time. But listen to this now. In the commentary, he says the word again.
He says it again.
So there is no filter in this dude whatsoever. He is a breed into himself, and listening to the commentary opened up my eyes to what this film is. This is a director that does not give a shit and wants to offend people and wants you to hate his movie.
But that's, you know what? See, that's the thing, though. I don't find it mean-spirited. Just that one scene.
No.
Fine. But that's what I'm trying to say. The problem is what he was aiming for, he failed. He didn't make an offensive movie.
Yeah.
He didn't make a weird, quirky movie. He didn't make something that's...
he made a stupid movie.
He made a bad movie.
A bad movie.
He just made it's just dumb.
Yeah.
And it's not so bad it's good. Although I know a lot of people feel that way. Like people laugh at it. People enjoy it very ironically.
I think it's so ridiculous. Like I said, the N-word scene. There's a scene, and there's two scenes. There's a scene, and again, this goes back to him not giving a shit, and like this doesn't feel like it's the same movie. So there's a scene where they shoplift from a supermarket, and I want to say I love that it's a Western beef. Just being from New York, they shot in a Western beef, which is a regional thing to us here in New York. So after they shoplift, they go to the parking lot. Dougie is inside of a shopping cart, and Satan is pushing him around. He runs over a baby carriage with a baby in it. He runs over a blind man.
And those are the moments where you realize this is supposed to be silly.
Stupid, yes.
And there's that scene. It's like, okay, this is supposed to be a joke. But then the rest of the film does the tone and is all over the place. He doesn't know. He doesn't maintain. He has moments where it's like, okay, I see this. You got that. But none of it is cohesive. And it just keeps falling apart. That's what I said earlier. He gets these moments where it's like, you're almost there, and then you fuck it up.
Yeah. Listen.
You know, it honestly reminded me, because it bothers me even more because he does have good movies. He's a good film. He's a good director. He knows it. It reminds me of Eli Lamel.
Okay.
He did Boogeyman, which was great. Devonsville Terror, which is excellent. Olivia was really good. He had a bunch of really good movies in the 80s. And then at some point in the mid-90s or so, through like 2010-ish, he did a whole string of like serial killer movies. He did the Black Dahlia. He did the BTK. He did a whole bunch, and they're all absolute trash. Like, they are just some of the worst movies you've ever seen, and it bugs the hell out of me because he is a good director. He did the Green River Killer. You know,
I mean, look, man, that's
what it reminds me of. Yeah,
and it's like he did what you're doing. He did what he wanted. This was a movie that it was a first draft. It was an idea he came up with. He was like, I'm making this movie. I don't give a shit, and I give him credit for that. I respect some of his choices. There's some decisions he made that I don't respect and I don't think fly very well.
Like you said,
he should not be saying these things and doing
he
these
decided
things.
in post to add
Yes.
this line.
Yeah, and
Who
then
does he
in
think
the
he is, Vince
commentary
McMahon?
says in the commentary, repeats it. And you know that
repeats it.
commentary was done in the last couple years because I think this Blu-ray came out in what? This Blu-ray came out
That's
in...
the other thing, too. Add 15 years to his age. The guy was 50 when he made this.
This Blu-ray came out in 2022, so not that long ago.
Yeah, that guy was 50 when he made the
Yeah.
movie. So you're telling me that now you have a commentary by a 70-year-old man talking about a movie he made when he was 50.
Yeah, or 50
And you're like, he's a little out of touch. You think?
You think? Yeah. And that's what this movie is, dude. This movie's a guy that's out of touch, and he just, and I'm not knocking him as a director. I'm not. And I like this movie, and I haven't even been able to fully get into because your tirade of hating it so much. But that's kind of that's what is appealing to me. And honestly, after listening to the commentary, I'm like, wow, Jeff Lieberman is a bit of a character. I would love to interview this guy and just like see like his perspective on filmmaking. Like that's what I want to hear. Like his perspective on filmmaking, dealing with actors, dealing with producers, because he got this movie made. This is almost this is a written and directed film by him.
Something I just thought of because I have the letterboxd open and I just and I looked at it. I said, look at this picture, and I listened to him talk and I watched the interviews and I said, I think this guy sees himself the way Larry David sees himself.
Possibly.
But Larry David is good at it.
Uh-huh.
And because he kept doing it. Like you said, there was a 17-year gap, you know? Larry David is definitely this guy's generation, and it's that type of humor that I can see he's going for, where there's some offense to it. There's, you know what I mean? It's very rude. It's very in your face, and that's fine. But I think the difference was that 17 years. Larry David never stopped. So he learned how to evolve his style to do that kind of offensive humor, but make it palatable to the next generation of audience. You know what I mean? Where he can continue doing that. He did the Seinfeld thing. People today don't find Seinfeld very funny anymore, but they find Curb Your Enthusiasm funny. It's the same comedy.
I don't agree with you
it's
about
the
that.
Same
People love
writer.
Seinfeld to this day.
No. Young
that.
kids? No.
Oh,
no, they don't.
I don't know young
That's
kids.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying
right.
to say. A younger generation doesn't find Seinfeld funny anymore. They find it
this
stupid.
movie
They don't
is
find Jerry Seinfeld funny anymore. He got canceled 3 months ago.
This movie is a product of the time.
That's what I'm
trying to say. It's
to say.
a time capsule of 2004, 5. So
that's what I mean. I think that that's what the problem is.
It's a guy that's out of touch. I get what you're saying.
The fact that he didn't continue working through that decade and a half. He made a movie in 2004 that should have been made in 1994.
Listen, he did something right because people do enjoy this movie. So and I think people like it because it's so stupid. It's a dumb movie at the end of the day. I want to mention a couple of things. I keep trying to mention them. So the pregnant woman, the baby carriage, and the blind man being run over in the parking lot, that entire sequence, phenomenal. I love that sequence. It's fucking stupid. But I think the fact that he did it in that order, it's like he knew what he was doing. It's like, all right, let's run over a pregnant woman. Yep. Let's run over a baby carriage. You know what? Let's run over a blind man. Yep. The sequence where they're trick-or-treating and the old lady, she's ringing the bell and he wants to kill the old lady, and she's walking with the walker, taking her time, and she drops the candy. That shit's hysterical.
That's him.
Is it?
That's Jeff Lieberman. The guy playing I think he broke his foot or something or whatever happened. That was a reshoot that they did.
Oh, dude,
that was funny. A reshoot, and the guy for whatever reason couldn't come back. That's him in the costume.
So
that's why I said he's got 2 cameos.
To me, the way I know this scene is funny, I use my wife as just kind of. I use her as a way to kind of judge if a scene is funny. She thought this movie was insanely stupid and had no desire to finish watching it. That scene, she was on the couch with me. That scene popped up, and when the candy fell, and she was slowly, hold on a second, trying to walk to the door to answer to Satan to give the kid. She thinks it's a kid with candy, and then she actually references that he's wearing a Hasidic coat. She says it. The old lady. My wife laughed.
Yes.
My wife even, because it's fucking funny. It's so stupid.
That's what. And again, there's moments where I see what he was going for, and then he loses it.
Yeah,
like
I see that
scene. Fine, I got it. Like, but if the rest of the film followed that tone, it would have been hilarious.
Yeah,
he just didn't.
That script needed to be rewritten. Someone needed to rewrite it or write it with him or something, or tell him.
You know what?
A producer should be like, "Hey, buddy, maybe if you're gonna stick with this comedy shit, stick with that." You know.
I'll even say that I don't think you have to. I think it just needs a better editor.
Possibly, yeah.
I think first off, taking it from an hour 45,
it's too long. Yeah,
down to like 125. You can cut it and make those bits funny.
It's too long. That's a con of mine in my notes. It is too long. It feels like it goes on and on and on. And in my opinion, that's kind of the weakest thing about it. Alex's subplot with the father, we didn't need that. In reality, no, because everyone thinks it's him. They could have easily made it like the father, maybe had him make him a more important character.
Yeah, the whole constantly with the father, the
back and forth. Even reading the ending of the movie, and I tried to rush through it because we'll be here forever. It's back and forth. There's a lot of back and forth.
Leave the house, back to the house. Leave the house,
it doesn't flow. Yeah, that's kind of,
and that's why I think that an edit could do it.
Possibly.
Just cutting things out, but not even just cutting scenes, cutting inside the scenes so it becomes a joke, like doing a comedic edit of here's the joke, the problem is you stepped on it and you ran it through the mud and you just kept going. But if you trimmed the scenes themselves so that punchline, move on, and you didn't do that. We just kind of stuck the camera in the room and just let people keep going.
Yeah. It's like
I watched another movie last night with Michael Madsen where he clearly did not follow his script and he just kept going and they didn't know how to edit around it. And I'm like, this is the problem. You're inexperienced editors. And I think that's what this came down to. It could have, I think, keep the script as is. You could have edited this to be an actually funny, ridiculous movie.
I'll say this to kind of just, before we wrap it up here. I think as a Halloween film, because that's kind of the main reason why I picked it, I think it does a pretty decent job in kind of mimicking the holiday as well. I wanted to talk about that because that's really the reason why I picked this. Yeah. With the fall, the costumes, the decorations, the Halloween party, it does a good job with all that. If you're into dumb movies, and I'll be honest, I'm not the type of guy who's really into a lot of stupid movies. I mean, I'm sure there's people that probably think differently, but
Trauma has fans.
I mean, yeah, I've never been a Trauma guy. I still would rather watch Satan's Little Helper than some Trauma stuff, in my opinion. I think
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this.
I'd watch this over Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, so. For me, this is just such an absurd movie in not the shocking way. It's just like, I can't believe this got made. I can't believe this movie was made. It feels like a first draft. It feels like they cut it maybe, Jeff Lieberman was like, no, don't cut out this. Don't cut out that. Keep it at an hour and 40. He ran the show. And he made the movie he wants to make. I think it's a fun Halloween watch. If you get drunk and you're hanging out with a group of friends at a Halloween party or a Halloween get-together, I think most people would enjoy this. I know this is not the caliber of film Manny would watch. I know, obviously, you hated this film.
I think this movie is proof of why he hadn't made a movie for 17 years and why he has not made one since. I think that's what it is. It's like you watch it, it's like, well, this is why nobody was giving him money for a long time and why nobody's given him money since.
Yeah.
It's just your evidence right there. That's it. His career fell off. After this, he's done.
Yeah, he hasn't made a movie since.
Nope.
So, but he got a Synapse Films special edition Blu-ray here and in the UK. And again, the film's got a following. And, it's not for everyone, obviously. If you're listening to this episode, I dig it. I have fun with it. I take it for what it is. At the end of the day, use your own discretion when watching. If you hate this film, I totally get it. If you love this film, I totally get it. And I'd say check it out. But again, be careful. You might be the type of person that feels that way about dumb movies like Manny does. Manny just does not, when they're too dumb, he just can't get through it. And then me, I take it for what it is. It's an experiment in, it's what a director shouldn't do, I feel. This is like a director that had too much control, and someone should have leaned over his shoulder and told him, hey, man, maybe that's not a good idea. But some people love it, so he did something right at the end of the day, and the movie exists. So check it out. This is both a warning and a recommendation from us here at Haunted Hangover.
God, this is Douglas Woolley. I'm sorry for helping Satan, and now I need your help to get him away from our house and to make him go back to hell. I promise to be good forever and ever if you do. I swear to you.
So that was Satan's Little Helper. Be sure to subscribe, follow us on Instagram, X, TikTok at Haunted Hangover. Head over to hauntedhangover.com where you can get links to everything, including our Patreon page, where you can gain early access to episodes, bonus content, and much more.
And be sure to rate and review us wherever you're listening to us at, because we want it.
And as always, remember, the best cure for a hangover is
more booze.
Catch you guys later.